Number 2, financial transactions and business dealings. Hunter Biden has faced scrutiny over his financial transactions and business dealings. Allegations have emerged about questionable financial activities, including alleged involvement in money laundering schemes and suspicious foreign transactions. These allegations have raised concerns about potential financial impropriety and conflicts of interest. For the average American reading about Hunter Biden and is confused as to why his overseas business deals could pose a problem, how would you describe the way in which his business operations have gained that attention?
There's an expectation in Washington, D.C. that influence comes with proximity to power. None of us are unused to this. We know that the way that things get done in this town is lobbyists who have cozy relationships with administrators, with regulators, with lawmakers. They're able to leverage those relationships into an advantage. This happens all the time, whether it's twisting arms or lobbying. But the question that is particularly interesting when it comes to Hunter Biden is, did he leverage his personal relationship with his father to gain, personal financial resources? And did he actually, in some way, influence his father's thinking on policy? And in doing so, was there any benefit for, then Vice President Joe Biden? One of the, key facts of the case thus far is that during the campaign trail back in 2020, the president said that he had never discussed Hunter Biden's business dealings with him. That, goes beyond credibility. And I think that we, at this point, do have some pretty significant examples of the then vice president meeting with Hunter Biden's overseas business partners, with, Vice President Biden leaving voicemails for Hunter Biden about some of the press interest in this. And I think that that is what people are going to focus on, not just now, but also as a political liability in the coming general election.
Since 2020, IRS supervisory agent Gary Shapley had been leading the investigation into Hunter Biden's tax violations. He soon found that the investigation was being handled differently than anything he had worked on in his 14-year career at the US Federal Tax Agency. In order to blow the whistle on the Department of Justice interfering with the probe and treating the president's son with preferential treatment, Gary Shapley hired an attorney. Your client, Mr. Shapley, he requested whistleblower protection from Congress in April because after 3 years running the investigation into Hunter Biden's taxes, he wanted to come forward and explain how he thought this probe had been handled improperly. Can you walk me through this initial stage?
Yeah, so the technicalities are actually even a bit more nuanced than that. So when someone makes a protected disclosure in the United States, government employees can disclose various types of information of wrongdoing, and those are automatically protected by the law. What makes Gary's case unique, he's a senior supervisory special agent at the Internal Revenue Service, which is our tax collection agency, and he wanted to be able to disclose information about this investigation in detail. And there are laws that protect the privacy of taxpayers in the United States. So he had whistleblower protection. It's that he needed to be able to, in more detail, make a disclosure. He wanted to make that disclosure to Congress. So the initial letter went in April. We had a period of working with the House Ways and Means Committee and also with the Senate Finance Committee, both Republicans and Democrats on those two committees, to arrange the terms of first us coming in to provide a proffer to identify the types of information that he wanted to come forward with. In order to do that, the committees had to designate both myself and another attorney to receive that confidential taxpayer information. So until we got that from the committees, even we didn't know the full extent of the disclosures Gary wanted to make. But that interview, which was about a 5 to 6 hour of questions, was his opportunity to share what he wanted to come forward with, which was that in the investigation of Hunter Biden, it was treated differently than any other case he'd seen in his 15 years at the IRS. There were many examples of preferential treatment where Hunter was, there were investigative and prosecutorial decisions made that have not been, made in any other case that he's seen. It was always to the benefit of Hunter.
Number 3, substance abuse and personal issues. Hunter Biden's personal struggles with substance abuse have been widely reported. His past encounters with law enforcement related to drug use have raised questions about his judgment and potential vulnerabilities that could be exploited. The laptop from hell is often at the centre of these revelations around Hunter's personal issues.
They show not only illegal activity concerning drugs and prostitutes, they show 11 years of the American First family's personal life. Everything from controversies about Joe, and it's basically a group of drunks and drug addicts, and we prove that in the pictures. We have, I mean, there's nude photos of multiple Biden family members. Normal people don't have those photos. A normal American family wouldn't have naked pictures strewn about on just one device. It's insane stuff. There's nearly 40,000. Like I said at the top of the interview, we're redacting the genitalia, but I'm curious to see what other people find in these photos. I've gone through them, but the reason why we're distributing this in a responsible manner is because we know that other people will pick up stuff that we haven't picked up yet, and they'll be able to go through it chronologically. So it starts in 2008 and it goes to March of 2019. That's the date range of the photos. And the users of the site, BidenLaptopMedia.com, will be able to go from 08, 2019, or from most recent to oldest. And everything from graduations, internal fights, a lot of screenshots, a lot of family arguing about Hunter and Hallie getting clean. Because one thing that I know you and I talked about briefly is that Hallie Biden, his brother's widow, she was on crack cocaine for years.
Hunter Biden's personal and professional scandals have compiled over the years, but he is finally being forced to face the law on some of his issues.
So Republicans are piping mad about this, and of course they are, because for a long time they've rolled out Hunter Biden as Exhibit A of sweetheart deals, of corruption, of pay-to-play politics, and essentially they're looking at the agreement first on the back taxes that were owed, and then also on the lie that he said on a gun charge. And they're saying, pick a person off the street, and had they done this sort of thing, they wouldn't have walked away with such a light slap on their wrist. That is something that I think that is going to continue to be litigated. You already have Republican presidential candidates promising that if elected, they're going to continue the investigation into Hunter Biden. This is going to be personal. It's going to be messy, and it's not going away anytime soon. Meanwhile, the White House, not only do they not want to answer any questions about Hunter Biden, and they'll refer reporters to his personal attorney, but they've been very public about allowing the president's son to be there at state dinners, to travel with the president. And if you push them on questions about whether or not the president has put up any safeguards, whether or not the White House has instructed the Biden family not to conduct business on White House grounds, they just they stonewall, they defer, and they don't answer the question.